So, if you're an AEW fan, even a fan from the beginning, a sicko, a diehard, a strong supporter, if you will, obviously you're hearing a lot of people talk about AEW not doing, so well. And it seems that maybe in your mind, it can't catch a break. And even if you're not a diehard or a sicko or whatever, but you're a fan of wrestling and you want to see a company like AEW succeed, then you also kind of think to yourself after what's been talked about and said and happened, that you too would feel and ask the question, man, AEW can't catch a break. Or not to ask the question, but you'd basically be saying to yourself, man, AEW can't catch a break. And they can't, it seems. I mean, first of all, you have a lot of people like those I follow, like JD from NY206 of Off the Script and Tuesday Night Titans, and Solomonster of Solomonster Sounds Off and Tuesday Night Titans. You have them and others talking about the overusage of the Anarchy in the Arena match for events like Double or Nothing or All In or whatever or what have you. And honestly, you can't blame them for having an opinion because they feel like these are the kind of matches that, yeah, it's okay to have them, but you need to give them time. You need to build it up. Now, a lot of wrestling promotions are dependent on annual matches to go with annual events. That's nothing new, obviously. There's nothing new, obviously. I mean, you look at, even major independent companies like CZW and so on, and it's during the summer that they always, rent out a secluded area out in the rural areas of Virginia or Delaware to do their Tournament of Death. And it's always, associated with the summer or, like July or late or early August and stuff like that. And people might think, well, it's an overusage of the event. Why can't you just do it every other year and everything, kind of make it a big deal? And that's a good idea. That would be a good idea, less injuries and all that. But then again, you're talking about CZW. You know what I'm saying? And then you got the same with GCW. GCW has their, their deathmatch tournament, Battle of Survival or something like that. And it happens at a certain time of year at a certain event of the same name. And yeah, you might think, well, they should try to, hold it once every other year or something like that. And it's true, maybe they should, less injuries and all that. But again, these are companies that are known for the deathmatch wrestling. But the point I'm getting at is a lot of people will feel this way, even about, smaller promotions and all that, doing overusage of events. And that's fine. And that's fine. Everybody's got a right to their opinion. But I think what people like JD and Solomonster and all of them are getting at is the fact that if you're going to do these events, do these matches, I should say, with said events, like Anarchy in the Arena or War Games, then that's fine, but give it time to be built up. Like, basically establish that the match is going to happen maybe a month in advance or a month and a half in advance, and then after that, build to it. If you will, with the already established squads that are going to face each other, teams that are going to face each other, and during that month and a half, long period while you're building to it, create intrigue as to whether or not certain, men or women are going to, be able to participate, whether or not they have an injury, whether or not they can't because, they're the opposite gender, and so on and so forth, or storyline-wise, they being suspended. And the reason for it real life-wise is maybe they're getting married or maybe they're going on a vacation and da-da-da. Give it time to, be built up with intrigue of whether or not these teams that are established at the beginning will be the same teams, going into the match of, during that event. That's what people are getting at when it comes to, companies like AEW overbearingly utilizing Anarchy in the Arena for events like Double or Nothing or All In, not once, but sometimes twice a year. And you can't blame them for feeling that way because it's like you're not giving a specific you kind of do give a specific reason, but you're not giving a legit reason. Like you're not giving storyline-wise time for it to create intrigue of whether or not, like I said, certain talents are going to be allowed to compete, or even if the match will happen itself, depending on where they'll be. So I get what they're talking about with the overusage, and yeah, once in a while, maybe every other year, or maybe every other quarter, if you will, or at least like during a later quarter of the year or early quarter of the year, you could do the match and then that's it. Then wait till the next year and then maybe do something to build to that. You know, you can, and here's the thing. You can also agree with JD and Solomon on WWE's overusage of War Games now during Survivor Series. And yeah, there has been an exception or two to where it doesn't feel like it was necessary. But we have known that even when it was an NXT exclusive match and then became a main roster exclusive event, that we've noticed that when done right, the War Games match can live up to the build that is being given. And WWE is known to basically, take their time to build to that match by basically creating the teams not a week or two in advance, but a month in advance. And the storyline centered around it has always proven to be worthy of it, or been worthy of being put in that match, I should say. And we've always seen at the beginnings of that, story with that faction that, will be, that's involved in the story that's worthy of the match. Usually, if done right, it started around WrestleMania time or after WrestleMania time. And a good example, maybe right now, is the Seth Rollins situation. But we'll see what they do. We'll see what they do. But I get, what people are saying. So I want to know what your thoughts are. Do you think it is an overusage by AEW and also other companies of doing a match at a certain time of year with a certain event? Do you think it's an overusage? Let me know. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are, on it and everything. Because again, you got, CZW and GCW, they do their deathmatch tournaments around certain times of the year. And, people might say, well, it's an overusage because you always have a death match or something like that going on later on. Why not hold off on it? So let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know if you feel, AEW and WWE and other companies should hold off at least for maybe a year. And then maybe the next year, proceed with doing the match because it does warrant it in the long run. Let me know what your thoughts are. But that's not the only thing about AEW that's getting criticized, not just overusage of Anarchy in the Arena. The other thing that's getting talked about is what happened last night, with Collision. Now, apparently, according to Tony Khan, technical difficulties from the in-studio house, if you will, in-studio building, technical difficulties caused 90 minutes of AEW to be only shown, while the other 30 were not shown. That's right. Basically, if you're watching Collision, or if not, and I'm sure you've heard of this, Collision was cut by 30 minutes due to technical difficulties, and in its place, TNT decided to air Dwayne Johnson, The Rock's Black Adam movie. No joke. And a lot of people reading Tony Khan's excuse, if you will, online for what happened, and they don't buy it. They don't buy the scroll that was going across the stream saying due to difficulties, technical difficulties, Collision's not going to air tonight or something like that. They don't believe it. They don't believe any of that, whatsoever. And even though Tony Khan said, oh yeah, West Coast guys, West Coast people, you're going to get the full Collision broadcast, guess what? Same thing here. So a lot of people are wondering if maybe this was Zaslav and his crew basically sending a message to Tony Khan, get your act together, make this product what it should be, or else we'll do worse. Because can you imagine them then, instead of cutting off a half hour, they'll cut off an hour next time around. But what are your thoughts about the whole situation of Collision being cut by a half hour? Let me know down below in the comments, as well as in the live section in the premiere. Talk to you later.